Back to second video on identification of rocks on the basis of physical properties. I have already told you that rocks can be identified in the field itself, then in hand specimen, then using magnifying glass, and finally using microscope. You see, these are the two slides. One is ready and one is under preparation. Both are of sandstone. You can see the thin, very thin slice, wafer thin slice we are having with me, and this is only 0.03 millimeter thick. Above that we have a cover slip, that is glass slip, to make the visibility better, and this is used for microscope. I have already shared you many microscopic pictures in my PowerPoint presentation. Now sometimes difficulty arises that a rock or mineral we are showing, a sample which we are seeing, is it a rock or mineral? So for example, this is a mineral, quartz, and these two are the rocks made up of quartz minerals. Both of these two rocks, they have almost 90 to 99% of quartz. Especially this one is having 99% quartz. Perhaps only 1% some other mineral. This has got perhaps 95% quartz and 5% muscovite. This is layered and this is non-layered. You can see this surface which is slightly dirty, and you can see this surface which is clean. I have told you, or I am telling you, that whenever we see the color of mineral or rock, we should try to see it on freshly broken surface, because on other surface which is exposed to the atmosphere, you will have a weathering effect, and that will give you brownish tint or brownish color. Many different rocks may look like same on the surface which is exposed to the weathering. So how to identify that you have a mineral in your hand or you have a rock in your hand? That is the first problem which we are faced with, and for that, you see, mineral is always single unit. Whatever minerals we have, they are single unit. So this is a quartz mineral with a single unit. This may be having millions and millions of quartz units. So that's why this is rock. A rock is made up of more than one mineral or more than one unit of a particular mineral. So this I have shown you example of quartz and quartzite. Here I am showing you an example of calcite and marble. You can see there is a reflection of grains, just like sugar grains. This is multiple or millions of units of calcite, and this is the mineral calcite. The reflection is actually on the surface, cleavage surface. The cleavage surface gives you the maximum reflection. So here also this surface is parallel to some of the cleavage surfaces of the calcite mineral, and that's why it is giving you some reflection. So you see, first of all, we will try to identify igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are used as a building stone, especially for flooring and rock cladding. You can see these rocks. These are the rock slabs which are cut by machine. These are the granite slabs cut by machine. You can see the variation in color. The variation in color is because of variation in the composition of the rock. So all these are some sort of granites. These are all some sort of granites having different color because of different composition. In industry of building stones, they have their own naming. For example, they are calling this rock to be black granite, but actually it is not a granite. It is a dolerite or diorite. So they have slightly different terminology. There is a rock, green colored rock, which is used for kitchen slabs, kitchen shelf, for example, green colored rock. They sell it here by naming it as Baroda green, and which has nothing to do with the Baroda, and of course it is green color. So you can see this is the rough This is the rough version and this is the polished version. Okay, you can see this also. This is the polished version and this is the rough version of the rock. Now when we try to identify rocks, for example, I have this rock in my hand. I will have to write its color so true to the appearance that any third person can identify that of what color I am talking of. So for example, here you have white color also, black color also, some translucent minerals are also there. So sometimes it is not very easy to define a color. But still I can say that this is a light colored rock. This is a light colored rock as compared to this rock, which is medium colored rock, as compared to this rock, which is dark colored rock. So this will be melanocratic, this will be mesocratic, and this will be the leucocratic. But for example, if I become very specific to this color system, so I can call it to be पेपर सॉल्ट कलर. काली मिर्च नमक को अगर आप कोर्स उसको ग्राइंड करें तो आपको ये कलर और ये टेक्सचर मिलेगा. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज पेपर सॉल्ट ग्रेनाइट. दिस इज अ पेपर सॉल्ट ग्रेनाइट. So you can write its color, and then the next property which we have to see is structure, because this is structureless. This is structureless. There is no layering. So I will doubt it to be igneous rock. I will doubt it to be igneous rock. Its texture is interlocking. Its texture is interlocking and it is non-porous. You can submerge this sample in water for some 24 hours. First you take the weight and then submerge it in water and then take weight after 24 hours, and you can get the porosity, the absorbance of water at least. So you will find that this rock does not absorb water because it is non-porous. Then we have to see the size of the mineral. If you closely observe the size, the mineral size, they are varying from 3 millimeter to 5 millimeter. So that means if you can see the minerals by naked eye, they must be more than 0.5 millimeter. So any rock having 3 to 5 millimeter of mineral size, that is a plutonic igneous rock. That is a plutonic igneous rock. Variation in size is very limited. As far as this sample is concerned. But if I can show you this rock, this rock has got some big crystals of some minerals, you see. So here variation of size is more. Here variation of size is more as compared to this rock. See here also, not much variation in size, which is typical of plutonic igneous rocks. The maximum variation in size used to be in volcanic rock. So variation in size is limited. If you can see the grain shape, so all the grains, they are angular. All the grains are angular and the shape is almost 3-dimensional of minerals, not of sample. Please mind, when we write shape and angularity, we are talking of minerals which are present here. Okay. Now next is mineral composition. If we are well versed with the identification of minerals, then we can apply that knowledge of identification of minerals in deciding that what minerals are present in this rock. Also from our theory, we know that in granite what minerals can be present. So here if you can see, I would like to give you a very close look. There are some minerals which are transparent. See, translucent. They have transparency. These are quartz. Then we have white minerals. They are feldspar, microclean feldspar. These black minerals, they are biotite. There may be some tourmaline also, but I cannot identify it at this level. So this rock has got quartz plus feldspar, which is white variety, that is microclean, plus biotite. And this rock is granite. You see, in our course, we have granite, we have gabbro, we have diorite as plutonic igneous rock. This is the most commonly found igneous rock, that is granite. So this is this one. It is not gabbro, it is not diorite, because gabbro is mesocratic and diorite is melanocratic. So you see, the color is used here. The color is used here. This rock was leucocratic granite. This was. So I have been able to explain you one sample of rock, that is granite.